Morning Chair, morning councillors. A few things I just want to call out. So 900 projects in flight, budget of 520, that's static. In response to feedback that we had from the previous committee, we have provided a little further information around cost and delivery of those third-party projects, so you'll see that on page 45. Obviously, detail of performance against those projects is in the watch list report towards the end as an appendix. Total spend to date, we've got 209. I just wanted to call out a couple of wins that we've had in the previous period. So our social housing renewals is complete. We've got 3 wellhead conversions that are complete, the Wainui, the Jeffreys and the Sydenham. And we've actually got construction that's commenced on site down Cranford Street for the downstream effects projects. If you've driven down Cranford Street, you would have encountered that. Current forecast to spend for the remaining 5 months is 270 mil. So there are a number of key projects that we have in construction, which is obviously the projects that drive the majority of the spend at that point in construction. The current forecast is reasonably ambitious, and it does rely on our ability to respond to some of the current delivery risks and issues that we've got at a program level as well as a project level. So I just wanted to call out a couple of those high-level program risks and issues for you. Just to note that our delivery teams are actively addressing those risks to mitigate them and to minimise the impact of our issues. So first up, obviously coronavirus. We have a supply chain risk in relation to this. We've got China factory closures. So in terms of some of the key project impacts, there is glazing supply for our Metro Sport, which isn't a major concern at present. It's not on the critical path for that project. It's just highlighting that as a risk. Pipelining for our 3 waters projects, we've got 1 in flight that will be delayed as a result of that supply, and we've got 4 other projects in the tender process. So what we've actually asked the contractors to do is to review those supply chain risks and identify alternative sourcing, at least as a backup. For transport, we've got issues in relation to the local supply of signs, poles and sockets, so we are waiting a shipment of that, which is forecast for the end of March. And we will prioritise projects to actually be supplied with that if we need to. The multi-use arena, there is risk relating to any change in the exchange rate, so any hike in the US dollar will impact us if the virus continues to increase internationally. There is a general risk on all projects in relation to how that virus progresses in New Zealand. So it is our responsibility as team leaders to make sure that our staff are healthy and safe, and we do provide the right equipment and technology for them to work from home if they need to. NZTA subsidy remains a risk. In order to mitigate that, we've got staff that work closely with NZTA to ensure the clarity of that process and to streamline it where we can. Back to the reports, carryovers and bringbacks. Our net carryover is 70 million, and the main projects that are contributing to that you'll see on following pages, and you'll also see a breakdown of the overall numbers by portfolio on following pages after that. Our watch list major cycleways report where there's deviation on risks or risks in relation to cost and time. The commentary is provided there. I'll just call out the multi-use as we know we've got the Crown funding. So we will progress that budget approval now in order to, that won't be Amber next month. And maybe we'll just respond to Councillor Chen's query around South Express while we're talking about the watch list and major cycleways. And then we'll take any further questions.
Thank you.
On page, South Express is on page 57. All of the sections that you raised, Councillor Chen, are listed in progressing well. So the rest of South Express is progressing.
Does that answer the question, Jimmy? You're happy with that?
General, I have a general question. Because I'm still concerned that every project we didn't have the master plan or master schedule. Now we distinguish the different kind of milestone. You know, maybe some consider, you know, the detailed design or tendering process, construction, but even construction have different stages. So I'm still concerned, how do we to try to follow up those milestones? This is my particular concern. Even like NZTA, the situation should be, we need to be aware beforehand. This is my view. Otherwise, we're just behind schedule. Particularly, you review, like page 46 or 47. Everyone we have carry forward, but I didn't see any to bring forward those the budget. All carry forward. It means we're behind the schedule. Our progress edge is behind. We need to review. This is my general question.
It's interesting to reflect on the table immediately below that, though, the top 10 bring-back projects, where there are a number of projects that are ahead of schedule, bring-back required due to earlier forecast completion date. Riccarton Road, for example, it's great to see that one ahead of schedule, and that's noted in this report. And there are a number of other projects in that table where work has actually progressed faster than we would have expected, which has resulted in the need for a bring-back. So the table above that, obviously, is the one where there's been a need for carry forwards, which is the one that you're referring to. I don't know whether staff have got any comment on the issue that Councillor Chen has raised.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the point where we create those original baseline dates, the information that we've got in order to create them is extraordinarily high level. So we haven't gone through planning and design phases yet. So they're always subject to change once we've got further information, whether they are being more fast-tracked or whether they are actually delayed because we actually have more information. So that's why we do provide you the light and revised forecast date, along with the commentary to explain why it happens. But it's always going to happen on a project because we just don't have enough information when we're actually setting that initial expectation. I think it would be fairer to say that you reset your expectations that they actually might change, as opposed to we're going to stick to that date.
Which in many ways is entirely the purpose of this part of this report.
Yes.
Exactly. Yanni.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. I just sort of switching between the previous report on page 28 around Hereford Street, where we're told that the forecast is now 11th of December 20, and then in your report, I think it's still listing as sorry, I'll just quickly flick to it. I think it was to November or October. So I'm just sorry, I've just nearly got it. Yeah, it's now. So we've got the previous report was listing as December. This report's listing as November 2020. I guess my question really is, can we do anything to kind of get it done before the Christmas busy period? Because obviously that's quite a critical time for the central city, and I'm just concerned that it's slipping.
We are still, so we now have a contractor on board. That only happened at the end of last December. We've been working really hard with that contractor, and we're working firstly on Victoria Street to get that up and underway and going, and then we'll be setting our program for Hereford Street. We have been undertaking conversations with the stakeholders down there. They are clear that they would prefer us through there in winter when it's their slower period. We are very aware of what the Christmas period is, and we won't be impacting that.
But the two dates that we've got now show that we will.
No, the one on the watch list says November.
And the one in the previous report says December.
I'm sorry, I don't know where Peter's came from. I have to, because the watch list was the last, this is the most up-to-date information. So it's come back.
Okay.
So we're trying to get it out of the Christmas period.
Can we get a memo back on that when, just, I guess what we're hearing in terms of the COVID-19, it's quite, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty around a number of things.
We don't perceive that being a big risk for the delivery of these jobs.
So I think we've just heard the answer to the question, which is that we're expecting completion by November. And whilst COVID-19 may affect some projects, we're not anticipating that this will be one of them. So I think we in terms of the particular project that the question's about, we've had the answer.
Well, sorry, we'll check with Peter where he got the date from. Is that,
Lynette can do that.
Yeah. But Lynette, you're confident that November is the correct date?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Thank you.
delivering it.
Thank you.
and just thanks for the memo on the Heathcote Expressway. We got quite a detailed process around how we go through the consenting. So I just wanted to check for the MCR, it says that we are doing the lizard habitat in early 2020. But can you just remind me, have we got a consent currently in for that design, or are we waiting for the lizard survey and then we put the consent in?
Yep.
So we wait for the lizard survey?
We need to do the lizard
Right.
survey as part of the consenting information to get the consent. So we are working with ECAN for the resource consent and the work. The lizard work is not expected to delay the delivery of the project. It is only a small portion of the job that the consent is needed for. The rest of the job can get underway.
Right, okay. And just so I'm clear, the NZTA funding is still creating delays, the lack of certainty, or have we got any greater certainty?
We haven't got formal approval from them. They did say a couple of weeks ago that we would expect it within a month. So, but until we actually get the piece of paper or the email, then we haven't actually got formal approval.
But we are optimistic.
Yes.
Okay. And sorry, there was one, we did get the memo back in terms of the old Sumner Road corridor. Is this the time to ask about that, or is that a different?
It was for information really as requested at the last meeting.
Yeah, that would have come out of the Sumner Road closeout report. Can we just check on progress with that?
No, we've got the memo
You've
back.
got it.
It's good, but it kind of raises questions on some other projects in terms of NZTA funding.
Right,
But I don't know
okay.
how we
Do you,
get the
do you
chance
want to
raise
take
that.
those offline as a response to that memo rather than asking them here?
Sure.
Yep, thank you. All right, any further questions? So I'm happy to move this report. Sam, you're happy to second. All those in favour say aye. Against, that's carried. And now moving to item 9.